Okay, so hey everyone, I am speaking out about my MK Ultra True Life Targeted Individual story. Okay, this is part 4. I had to stop many times. Um, so I am a targeted individual. I am an ex-practicing witch. Okay, there was Satanism and Baphomet in my bloodline. There was dark witches. Excuse me. I am a high priestess as well. And you know, these people, they hide behind religions, cults of Christianity, but the whole time they do like pentacles, pentagrams, blood offerings to Baphomet, Satan. And I'm not down talking these deities because every single one has their own power, but I'm speaking out about my experience as being connected to MK Ultra mind control victim. Okay, so this is part 4. So my father was in the Marines. For those of you, this is a recap. And he literally it's just hard for me sometimes. He was subjected to an orphanage as a young child after his parents, you know, my grandpa Adam had hit my grandmother Mary, and then the state came and divided his family up to where my dad was put in an orphanage. So he was in the system. And the way out was him joining the military. So I feel like that's what made him want to change his life. So he went to the Marine Corps. And he was a Lance Corporal. And he was like, you know, to the point where I just fucking, like, if you go to my last video, you guys, and you fucking see, like, what the fuck, like, I was subjected to, in the plaza for, like, only the first couple videos. So, like, back to Hamza wanting to, you know, be my boyfriend, but they were one of the ones that they sent. Okay. So they sent him, and he was, you know, very like reptilian to the point where like all of this was part of their agenda. All of this was part of their fucking agenda. Because my mother was my father's handler, and my mother was from the reptilian starseed race, and my dad was more like in the military, but his checks from being honorably discharged from the Marines enabled him to take care of her financially and take care of the house so she could stay home for like, I don't know, 30 something years and just be a stay-at-home mom or whatever. It's crazy. But anyways, Hamza was just like, we were sitting there and we were just like, so we basically were in his car, and I told you about this in a couple videos back, to where like so I'm at my father's house right now in the suburbs, and I'm just staging the bottom of my feet, trying to clear the energy. But yeah, after like the attacks of the plaza, because a lot of people along with members of my family were also programmed to go against me and like do things to me, to the point where like they don't even know that they're programmed, so they don't even know what I'm talking about, and like they'll like gaslight me and they'll be like, what are you talking about, or they'll act like I'm crazy, but they don't even know that they were subjected to helping the government target me. They don't even know. They have no idea. I'm just trying to stage my feet because, you know, So, like, it's taken a toll on me after. Like, I've been having to walk several miles. And I mean, like, I walked 20 miles the other day. 20. Then another day I walked 15.5. Then another day I walked 17. Then another day I walked 10.5. Then another day, like, to the point where, like, that helps my mental health at this point, because you guys, I was getting followed by, like, fighter jets. I was getting followed by planes, by other jets to the cemetery, to the point where, like, it was just really bad. And, like, you know, I can't tell my family because they'll just be like, oh, you're paranoid, and they'll think that I need medicine, because that's what they want people to think. But, like, fast forward, or rewind back to the plaza. So Hamza and I, we were together, and I remember going into his job one day and him being like, oh, you know, hey, baby. And, like, he came into the McDonald's, and then I was just like, hey. And I was like, hey, babe, can you get me some napkins? And then he goes to the front and he gets napkins and, like, throws them down. And Bella, my daughter, looks at me like, and I look at her like, okay. And then he walks back to his register. And then he's like, you know, oh, don't tell people that we're together, da 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 da. And then I noticed that there's this girl named Daniela. Every time I was talking about him, she would, like, emotionally eat. She was, like, really skinny. And she would just, like, emotionally eat, walk through the store, sit in McDonald's. And I would sit in the McDonald's sometimes in his job because he would want to protect me. And he'd want me to be there. So I would sit there. And literally, I would go in there and, like, stay there because I would feel safe with, you know, my boyfriend being there, because there was a lot of men targeting me that I didn't want to be with. So after we slowly fell out of each other's lives, you know, and he was asking me, by the way, before I end the story with him, he was asking me, he was like, he would do this thing to where he would be like, oh, you know, hang on, you guys. I'm gonna end the video, and I'm gonna, well, actually, no, I'm not gonna end the video, but Leo, no.
What are you doing? You want to come in? Why are you knock on the door? Why are you knock on the door?
So yeah, Hamza would be like, you know, he would want to protect me, and so I'd go in there, and then at this point it was just like the Walmart people found out that we were together because of the V2K technology and the things they were putting in my food. I remember it was like this truth serum. The first time it was either Rofinol or GHB. The second time it was some sort of acid. The third time it was truth serum. And I just remember, like, sitting in my car, sitting back like this, looking at the sunlight, and I just remember being under the influence of something, you know, foreign substance in my body, and that wasn't me. But I'm speaking out about it now because I remember now. And it was just like a lot of stuff that, you know, I had went through in the plaza. But they had pre-selected me a very long time ago. This was, like, not a result from anything that I had done. It was not a result of any type of karma. It was just a targeted individual. My name was on the list. Okay. And the V2K programming. Okay. So I would go into his job, and then at this point it just felt like a game, like I was a pawn. And then, like, I would go into the Walmart, and then it would be like a bunch of people who were, like, in the back. I don't know if it was associates. It was like women who were targeting me in the bathrooms. Okay, so the targeting started a lot when they found out about me and Hamza being together. So a lot of the women were getting jealous, and so, like, if I would go to the back bathrooms, they would go and slam the doors and just, like, trash talk me, knowing that I was in the stall, knowing that I was, like, living in my car. And it was all types of people. It was, like, Hispanic women, Latino women, Haitian women, Jamaican women, and African American women. So I was like, okay, I'm being like controlled. Like I'm being like targeted. I mean, like I'm being like, smear campaigns, name defamation. They're making up lies and rumors, and they were mad that I was with Hamza, because at this point I had went public with our relationship against his wishes. He told me not to, but I did because I felt like he was protecting me, or I wanted to feel protected, to the point where he was just like, I don't know, it just seemed like he had a tie to this girl named Daniela, which was, it is what it is, whatever. And I didn't know, he didn't tell me about this, but it was like her reactions and stuff made me like know it. It made me know. I don't know why she has to text people about me religiously. Just want one day of like freedom, but I can't get it. To where they've programmed like different, just like basically my whole family to like target me as well. To where like my sister's in there right now texting one of her sons about me, or her friend, or my mom, or who knows, all of them. And I could feel it. But anyways, Hamza was like, oh, like energetically asking me to come in. But then like when I went public with our relationship, there was a team lead named Francisco, and I guess Francisco went and told people, and then Daniela knew because Daniela was hearing me talk about Hamza and that truth serum that they were putting in my food and my drinks. And it was just like one thing after another, to the point where like everyone knew that I was with him. And then like they were, I guess, humiliating him in the break rooms, and then like his associates were getting on him, like probably saying shit like, oh, you're with the homeless girl, like you're with the homeless girl, she's using you, or just putting shit like lies and gossip in his head because they were jealous or whatever, because they wanted him and I was with him. And they had also seen him and me loved up at the car many times, to where like we were standing outside the car and he was kissing my neck, or we were kissing, and they knew. So then like these black girls would come in front of the in my car, in front of my car, early morning, like 5:30 in the morning, and I would just be waking up to like these not styrofoam, but like the plastic cups from like McDonald's or Starbucks, like after you like drink it all, from like an iced cappuccino, thrown up against my car. Sometimes they would like, the cups would bust open and the cappuccinos would get on my car. And so when I told Hamza, he was like, oh, see, I didn't know nothing about that. To the point where like I think he was mad because like I told everyone, but it wasn't my fault. He didn't know I was getting drugged. That I had told everybody that he was my boyfriend, but he said he was my boyfriend. He said this in the car. He was like, you're my girlfriend. I want to take you to Morocco. I want you to be one of my wives. You have 3. I want you to have, 4, meaning children. And I was like, they were putting drugs in my food, like heavy drugs, to the point where I was just sitting there one time in the car at night, and he was just like, you're cold. But he didn't understand that I was under the influence of Rohypnol or GHB or truth serum or something that made me really like out of it, to the point where I could just sit there and listen, but I couldn't react. Like I couldn't like react how like a normal person would be responsive, because I was under the influence of the drugs they were putting inside my food and my daughter's foods. And I'm going to speak out about this, because it's really wrong, like what had happened. Because like when I had came out of this and I started really just putting everything together, when I had come out of the systemization and just the attacks and like the plots and like what they've done, I just want to speak out about this because like it's important, not only therapy for me, but to let you guys know about what these types of people do and what they can do to you if you don't have the means to protect yourself. And they literally had divided me from my children. So like what they did was, there was a cop that came up to me, and I forgot her name. She said it was Maina, but that wasn't her name. And okay, so let me tell you about Jamie McDonald first and how it ties into the cop. So this man named Jamie McDonald came, and he was like, I went into the bathroom at Denny's really late. I had to pee really bad. And he grabbed my hand, and I didn't really want him to grab my hand, and I left, and he was like, hey, can you come in with me to Walmart tomorrow morning and help me look at scooters and belt buckles? And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know, and he was like, no, just come, and then, I'll buy us breakfast. And I'm just like, I don't know. And he was like, I'm gonna knock on the window at like 5 in the morning, and you're gonna come. And like, I was very passive from the drugs, so I was just like, and then so like, he knocked on my blanket on the window because there was this guy who I had rejected from the hotels that I was staying at behind me on Commodity Circle. And he was a gang stalker. He had like a black Denali, or just a black Expedition. It was a very big black SUV. He didn't work, and he owed like over $3,500 on that hotel room because the hotel clerk told me. I just remember after I rejected him, he went crazy, and he worked at Chrysler Jeep Dodge. He was Hispanic. He was like his mid 40s, and he was like his mid to late 40s, and he was not attractive. And I remember like his name started with an E, but the government had wiped my memory to where I don't remember his first name. It was very different. And he had told me that he was going to help me sell my car. But then he did me dirty because when I told him, no, I'm not going to sleep with you, he expected sex after he gave me $100 for my hotel room. And I told him like I wasn't comfortable with that. So then he got mad and started like circling Commodity Circle, ESA, Extended Stay America. So this was the very first guy who targeted us. And he was angry, but I just thought it was going to be a tiff and he was going to get over it. Little did I know he was connected to a bunch of people in the plaza who ended up targeting me. He was paying people like $20, like men, black men, Jamaican men, Haitian men, coming up to me, grabbing their belt buckles, going like this, like pulling them up, like acting like they wanted to sling me that D or like give me D. And I was having to tell like over like 103 men no. To the point where like they were giving me truth serum, and the truth serum was making me come out of my mouth about what was happening, and then it was also making me like have hallucinations to the point where like, and I'll get into this later. But this man, he ended up saying he was going to help me sell my car. Okay? So I went to his job, and he had lied, or he had told someone something about me, and then they said that the title was in a different name. And I was like, how could that be? Because this was my car. I bought it. I signed the paperwork. To the point where they put it in somebody's name in Davenport. And this is part of the street theatrics that they do. My sister has like a very like profound energy, and so I could feel her, and she's like right there, and I could feel her like texting about me, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. So like I never have the back patio anymore. Like I always let her and her sons like have my dad's house. I'm just like, I usually leave so they could have the house because it's how they wanted it at this point. So I'm just like, whatever. But let me just keep focusing and telling this true life story. So like when this guy, his name started with an E, when I rejected him, he got really angry, and he had lied to me. He was doing this to try to get in my pants, obviously. And so I said no. The next day, I met this guy at Chrysler Jeep Dodge because he said that he could get me $3,500 for my car. And then I met this guy named Gabriel who referred me to a guy named, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's like an actor named Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know. But it's the same name. So he was the one that sent me, he was like, oh, the title's not even your name. And then they said, they printed out this paper saying that it was in a name of someone named, I don't remember his name, but it was a Davenport location, which this is street theatrics, to where like he wanted to push my buttons. Because I used to live in Davenport with my ex, my third fiance, okay? And this is what they do to targeted individuals. And I was like, how could that be? So I couldn't like sell my car at the time. And then so like, so after this, I thought that the guy was just like gonna be in his hotel and just like forget about it and just like be like whatever. But he didn't. He started paying people this whole time to target me, to come to my car. He was even paying homeless people to try to break into my car, to either try to sleep in it when I was away from the car at night. So, okay, a guy named Jamie McDonald came up. And he literally was like, come with me this morning. So he like pounded on the blanket on my window because that guy from Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Commodity Circle ESA, Extended Stay America, he, he had, I'm pretty sure he sent him, and he had sent two homeless people named James and Annabelle who were drug addicts, really bad drug addicts. I don't know what drugs they were on. I don't do drugs. By choice, I don't like drugs. Okay? So he had sent them to try to break into my car and like mess with me. As well as Jamin was friends with somebody with the dirty cop in the plaza. So like Jamin came up and was just like, hey, I could help you. Oh, before I want to get into this other guy that came up. He was an older guy, and he was like trying to help me with a battery for my car. So they had sent an older guy who claimed he was from like New York. He was New York Rican, but he was older. And then he had tried to find me in the McDonald's and came into the McDonald's into Walmart to try to like make Hamza jealous. So Hamza got jealous or whatever. I didn't even ask him to do it, but he went through my daughters, was like, where's your mom? And they were in the car waiting for me. I was charging our phones. Okay. They were with me at first, and then they went back to the car to like take a nap and take a rest. And then at this point, like there was some Denny's waitresses who tried to get dirt on me, so tried to make a false friend out of me. And they were all working with this undercover cop and Jamin McDonald. The undercover cop, he was connected through Officer Mena and Escondon. And he would dap Jamin up. At this point, I didn't know. There was this girl named Cheryl in her red Honda, and she would tell me these things. And then there was this girl named Nina Green, like I said in my past video, and she was like friends with all the chefs, and she would catch a ride to and from work from one of the cooks at Denny's to where they were the ones putting the drugs in my food and my daughter's foods. So they were trying to basically get the system to try to take my daughters away from me. I didn't know this at the time. I literally thought they were really trying to help me. There was a woman who was jealous of Jamin, or of me, because Jamin, let me tell you what Jamin did. So Jamin was like, oh, let me, come in with me really quick to Walmart. I need to look at scooters and like look at belt buckles. So I'm like, okay. So he pulled me up out of my car. We walked to Walmart. Went in there for like a quick, like maybe 7 minutes, not even 10. We left. He took me to the McDonald's out of Walmart, bought like a sausage burrito, and was like, okay, here's the deal. And he sat with me at the table. He was like, I know you and your girls live in your car. Like, I want to just take you out of that car. Like, I couldn't live like that. Just think about it. And he was like, but there's going to be rules. He was like, no TV after 10. They have to stay in school. You have to get a job. You guys have to be respectful. He listed so many rules. And I was just like, I didn't really want to go with him. And at this point, me and Hamza just slowly, like, started, like, stopped talking to each other. Like, we just fell out of each other's lives communicatively. To the point where, like, I thought we were done. Because, like, and I started just kind of being fearful. Because what happened next was I went to the hotel room with Jamin. I remember drinking from the 7-Eleven. First, I remember eating like half of that sausage burrito, which was disgusting. And then going to 7-Eleven and getting like triple X waters, and then like I remember drinking like a lot of Alani energy drinks, I think, as well as like Mountain Dew from the fountain from McDonald's, and like triple X, and then like somehow all of that caused the reaction to where like I had IBS symptoms, to where like I would have to like, and plus the drugs from the food, so I would have to go onto the toilet, and then I would take like a shower after every time I went to the toilet. But then, okay, this was like after this happened, so like he assaulted me in the hotel room. I remember him putting his hands on my shoulders and grabbing me and touching me, and I didn't want him to. And I was like, I have to get in the shower, because he was just like, this is the deal. Your daughters and you will have the main bed, and then I'll have the bed on the pull-out couch, and I'll help you. And I was like, I don't know. He was like, okay, so you'll think about it. So we walk back to the car, and he knocks on the window, and he's like, girls, get up. Come on, follow me. They're like, yay, mommy, like, a hotel, like a bed, like air conditioning. So, like, they follow him. So I'm like, I didn't say yes yet. So I'm, like, running after him and Ariana, which is my oldest daughter, and then Bella. I'm, like, behind them. I only grab, like, 2 of my bags out of like a lot. And then like we pass Walmart, we go through, like we go up the bridge off West Sand Lake, across from that 7-Eleven to In Town, which I hate In Town Sweets. I didn't want to stay with him. So he fucking literally, we get the girls to sleep. I'm about to get into the shower, and he corners me in the kitchenette, and he's like puts his hands on my shoulders and my arms, and he looks at me, and I know what he wants, and I'm just like, I'm scared. And he's like, don't be scared. Why are you scared? And I was like, I want to go into the shower now. And I just remember, like, he tried to kiss me, and then, like, I pulled away and I got into the shower. And I didn't want him to touch me. I didn't want him to kiss me. I wasn't interested. I remember I got out of the shower. It was like an hour and a half. And I just remember him waiting in the bed. He picked my girls up, put them into, I know, Leilita. Layla. Put my girls into the pullout that he said that was his bed that he was going to sleep in. Next thing I know, he's literally asking to do me without a condom. And I'm telling him no. I say no 19, 20 times. He doesn't give a fuck. Puts it in without a condom. It's called stealthing. So at this point, I'm like drugged up from like the food and the drinks. And I'm having like symptoms like my stomach. And I'm just like this. To the point where, like, he was basically able to do whatever he wanted. I'm just like this. I can't even fucking do anything. To where he completely took advantage of me. Leo! God, I'd be humping her face, bro. So I'm just fucking like, okay. What the fuck just happened? And then, like, the next morning, he's like, don't be afraid to come out here and smoke.
Smoke anymore.
Where? When?
I quit.
When?
I've been wearing the patch. You haven't seen my patches?
I haven't even been around. I was walking a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I did like 20 miles one day, 19 miles another day. It was crazy. 17, 10. Okay, so then we were in the hotel. And then he was on the other bed, the pull-out bed. To the point where, no. He had switched and put my daughters into the pull-out bed. It wasn't supposed to be like that. The deal and the arrangement was, okay, me and the daughters were going to have the queen bed. He was going to have the pull-out, and the TV was right here. So it was like dividing. It was like a couch bed, and it was like, an extended hotel to where like it had a kitchenette. So then he was just like, he did what he did. And the next morning he was like, I'm attached to you. And he was saying all this stuff to me to where like I was like really uncomfortable because I didn't want him in the first place. And I was under the influence of drugs that they put in my food or my drinks or both, to the point where I could just be like, and just look him dead in the eye and just like let him do it and just be like, and then he was just like, probably just somebody getting the mail or walking by or something, to the point where he was just like, okay, Leo, to the point where that night he was just like saying things to me like, oh, come here and give me that bomb ass goddess pussy. And I'm just like, I did not want him like that. I just remember, Leo, to the point where it was just crazy. Okay, so then like I had like IBS symptoms from the drugs, which was like wicked diarrhea. It was like 8 times, and I was like, what the fuck? So I would take like 8 showers. Like however many times I did like have diarrhea, I would just take a shower after each one. To the point where the next morning after that, he tried to get it from me again, to which I said no. I had went to my job interview at Wendy's, okay? Then I started walking behind One Blood. I wasn't feeling right. He was acting like, like he wanted that from me, but then he was like, oh, like you're responsible for getting your daughter's food. And I had run out of my food stamps, or something happened to my food stamp card to where like it wasn't pushing the EBT through at the time until I was like struggling. And then, or like we were having to buy gas station food because, I didn't like have like a home to take the food to prepare and like cook. So we're like, gas station food's a lot. So we'd run out of money within like halfway through the month, or like 2 weeks or a week and a half prior to when like the rebalance like reload was or whatever. So where like I remember, like, he wasn't, like, feeding my daughters. And I was just like, okay, if he was sexually intimate with me, he would want to care. And then, like, finally, he had brought, like, like, 3 little wings home. And I didn't like how he was being to me. And then, like, the next morning, he walked shirtless in front of my daughter, took her, like, can of, like, soda or something, or whatever drink she had picked out at the gas station that I bought her, and he had started drinking the soda. Like, didn't even ask her to drink. That was her drink. And then he was shirtless, to which that was a disrespect. And I felt like he was a man, so he should be fully dressed, and his chest should have been covered in front of my daughter. She was awake. She was fully alert. And then he was, like, talking to her and acting like he was very flirtatious. It was very strange, to where, like, he would just act fucking weird. And I didn't like the way, like, he was, like, disrespecting my daughter and me. So I was like, okay, Ari, like, get your stuff. Girls, pack your stuff and let's leave. And they're like, no, mommy, I want a bed. I want AC. And I was like, no. So where, like, I packed all of my stuff. They got their stuff. And we walked back. We left. And we walked back to the car. And then I was at One Blood. And I was deciphering, okay, should I call the cops on him? And I remember the voice in my... Leo! I remember the voice in my head being like, if you call the cops, or if the cops are called and they know about this Jamin thing,
What's up, guys?
your reputation's gonna get ruined. So, like...
Working out.
So, like, I didn't listen to that. And so, like, the cops were called, so they met us outside McDonald's, outside of Walmart. And then, so, it was, like, 2 undercover investigators. They pulled me into, like, a car. They were, like, they bought my daughters and me food, like, the sheriff's department of Orange County. And then it was just, like, you know, at first, I didn't want to report this, but I had Googled this out. No. I had Googled this out, One Blood, and then there was someone in the UK who got arrested for stealthing. So where in the United States, they don't give a fuck. The cops, like, laugh, like, oh, he pulled a condom off, like, huh, like, it's a fucking big joke to them. Just like it's like when they arrest you. And they're like, oh, like when the inmates go in, oh, I bet she's in here for battery. You know, she looks like this. Like, this is what they do. They don't give a fuck. They're cops. Where you can't trust them. So, like, I had this girl come from the plaza named Rhonda, and she lived in her van with her daughters and some of her grandkids, and she was like, oh, you know that dude that stealthed you? He was inside of Denny's from his 3rd shift last night, and me and my daughter were in there ordering, like, the French toast slam and the pancakes and stuff, and he was dapping up that dirty cop, the one that trolls this plaza with, like, the pickup truck. It's like a pickup sheriff truck with, like, lights around it. And I'm just like, nah, they were dapping up. She was like, yeah, they dapped up each other. So I was like, all right, something's not right. And then I remembered, a memory came to me where I was behind the, you know, when me and Hamza were in his car, and before me and Jamin had hooked up, he had this black dude try to videotape me and Hamza in the car, okay, to the point where it was disgusting, you know what I mean? And, so at this point, I also had African American, Jamaican, and Haitian girls hating on me and Hamza. Then they found out that I was with Jamin, so then it looked like I cheated on Hamza, but I never cheated on him because technically he ghosted me first, but we slowly fell out of each other's lives, but he energetically would pull me in, or that's what the drugs had me thinking, because I was they drugged me up. I know that they did, because I was acting completely out of character, and this is what V2K, mind to skull technology does, okay? When you're subjected to MK Ultra mind control programming, which I was in the VA hospital ever since I was a little girl, they put the surveillance in you and microwave programming. You can look this up. You can go to targetedjustice.com, I think. I'm going to put this link down in the description box below, to where it's like targetedjustice.com, and it's very, very, like, you know, what is it called? Like, hey, can you shut this? Because I'm doing a video. Can you shut this real quick? Yeah. Because then I need to concentrate. So, like, sometimes with the V2K technology, my mind can be, you know, scattered because I was subjected to the MK Ultra mind control butterfly programming. So, like, and then they were drugging me, so they had me pre-selected in the system. So, okay, after this whole Jamin thing, it was reported, And then I was sitting literally in, okay, I'm trying to figure out what my brother's pit bull is like looking at. Isn't she pretty? She's a blue nose pitty. So, okay, basically, me and Hamza, we slowly fell out of each other's lives. And then Jamin came. And then when I left Jamin, it looked like I had cheated on Hamza, but I didn't cheat on Hamza. So now all of these girls, like African American girls, Jamaican girls, and Haitian girls, were literally like, who were hating on me and Hamza, were now telling him in his ear at his job, in the break rooms, and even in the front, because there were girls in customer service, there were girls in cashiers, and they would give him looks like every time I'd go in there, and he would light up and be like, oh, Italy? Oh my God, like, I love Italy. And here, let me help you with your phone. And he would give me the charger and charge my phone, to where, like, his coworkers that he even told me he didn't even like working with would literally be like, oh my God, like, I can't stand my coworkers, but, I have to work here to make money. And I fucking hate my coworkers, he would tell me. And, to the point where those same coworkers that they knew that he wasn't even attracted to were like starting smear campaigns and lying about me. And then with the whole Jamin thing, it just made me look worse in his eyes. And so like they all were looking at me like I cheated, and then they looked at me like, okay, Hamza paid for your, electric mechanical car to get fixed, and this is how you do him. But I'm telling you guys, I never cheated on Hamza. I never cheated on him. Okay? Yeah. To the point where I need you to leave this open because I need to go and get some ice really quick.
Right, well, shut it when you're done, because this AC is running overtime.
Okay, shut it then, because I'm probably not going to go for a while. So what happened was basically my reputation got ruined after I truthfully reported Jamin McDonald for stealthing me, to where the cops laughed. I was like a joke. So it was something that I had to live down in the plaza. So then after this, I had actually went and got somebody named, we're just going to call him Jadiel. And I ended up pulling him because Jamin went crazy. He went psycho at Denny's. The drugs they were giving me made me pop off at the mouth really hard. They gave me a truth serum. They gave me Rofinol. They gave me GHB. They gave me like some sort of acid. And mind you, I never did acid before this. They probably gave me ecstasy. Okay, I have never fucking done this shit. I've never done acid. I've never done these hard fucking drugs or whatever. I was never into that like whole like acid ecstasy scene, to where like I'm not judging you. If you do that, that's you. But me, I personally do not want to partake in stuff like that. But they were putting stuff in my food, those chefs at Denny's. So, and they were corresponding with, the dirty cop in the plaza, which they wiped my memory of his name. They wiped my memory of the man who started this, the gang stalker, who was at the Commodity Circle ESA Extended Stay America. And they also had the girls, the African American girls, the Jamaican girls, and, the other women target me and then like follow me to the bathrooms. When I was on foot, I would walk to the gas stations. They would have me followed by some Spanish girls as well, and they would be like puta, puñeta, like in the back bathrooms at Walmart, as well as on the road. It was raining, and the one girl was like, she's crazy, and then the other girl was like, oh, but she's nice though, shh. And it was just fucked up, just like the way it was, to where like I would be in the bathroom, and like I would religiously like buy Florida de Agua, and I would literally like put it on baby wipes and wipe my like pits down, wipe my private parts down, and I would wash my face religiously, brush my teeth. So I was going to the bathroom a lot. So one of the girls thought she was slick and tried to act like I was a drug addict, and said since she saw this girl named Annabelle talking to me, I was probably on drugs. And it was just a rumor. It was a simulated fucking rumor, to the point where And then my car was parked on like the prostitute row, which I didn't know this, and my girls were in there. So everyone was looking at me like I was a bad mother at this point. And I know how I looked, but I'm not a bad person. I'm not going to sit here and defend myself. Like, if you want to villainize me, okay, villainize me. I have nothing to explain. This is my personal story account of being a targeted individual. So I pulled JDO out of his hotel room because Jamin McDonald went crazy. He went fucking nuts. Okay? He started following me with this new scooter that he fucking ordered off Amazon. Following me with my friend at the time, I thought was my friend named Rhonda. And then some black guy was like talking to us, walking with me. And then Jamin would like follow me, and I was telling him, he was like, oh, that's the dude who like raped you, who like sexually battered you. And I was like, yeah, that's him. To where like, you know, this dude was like gonna like beat his ass if he came to me. After I left Rhonda and him, Jamin followed me on the scooter and took his phone out and started video recording me with his, mobile device. And I was trying to do, I cannot see, I don't know where. So I was just kind of intimidated because I didn't know what he was gonna do. Okay, to the point where like I went to my friend JDO's, we'll just say Joelito's hotel room. But it was a hotel room that he was sharing with a crew at the time that he had worked with. And at this time, there were people from PetSmart as well as a girl with a Persephone tattoo who worked in the McDonald's and who was like the mechanic, who was more like masculine energy, who would work at both McDonald's, who fixed stuff, and they'd hire her. And then there was just women who were like in higher positions than me because I lived in my car, and they were like, Glory, okay, came from Denny's, and she was the hiring manager, and she had lied about me because she wanted to sleep with Jamin. And then after I said that, Jamin wasn't good in bed, which was the truth, and they had whack-ass dick, which was the truth, because they'd given me truth serum, and I was popping off. So then they were just like, this girl's off the chain. And then like he was trying to defend himself, but then he was a narcissist, and then he lied and said I was abusive and all this shit, which was a fucking bullshit lie. Because you know how abusers always turn the shoe on the other foot, and they make it seem like you're the crazy one while they're innocent and they're the victims. You already know how this is. So that's what he had done to me. So we're like, him and Gloria was the hiring manager, and she wanted to fuck him, and she literally was going into Walmart telling my boyfriend and telling people, as well as PetSmart, Denny's, Burger King, McDonald's, Panda Express, just fucking lies and rumors, doing a smear campaign against me. To this point, Hamza got pulled into because there was already his coworkers who were jealous of me, and Daniela, who he probably fucked a couple times, okay? So at this point, an officer fucking got me a hotel room, but they got one bed. Tell me why they didn't get a double bed, and it was across Joelito's hotel room. So let me just go back to this. Before I went to Joelito's hotel room, JDO's hotel room, JDO. So I'm going to shut this and upload it, and then I'm going to do another video, part 5.